right, we have the podcast Mamas. We are back, and as usual, we open with our favorite guitarist. Let's hear it, Ryan.
It's time for bed, oh, it's time for you. Mom and Dad says what you gotta do. We don't care if you ain't tired. Take it from the one whom you so admired. It's bedtime for Ella Missy. Don't you cry or go and hiss it. No more games and no running around, 'cause we don't wanna hear another sound. Just take your bell and get tucked in and don't make us swear again and again and again.
Hey, welcome back to Podcast Mamas Navigating Life with Laughter in a Special Needs World. I am Carly here
And this is Nicole.
with Nicole. And Nicole's in Chicago, and I'm in Arizona. I don't know why I don't say Phoenix. I always say Arizona, and I always say Chicago instead of Illinois. It's a weird thing. I don't know why I do that, but we're talking from across the miles. And we also have our featured favorite guest, Miss Laura of Miss Laura's Life Skills.
Hello.
Welcome back, Miss Laura.
Thanks for having me back.
Always a pleasure. Tell us what is going on, because you messaged me that things are mega crazy. So
Yes.
what is happening over in Miss Laura's Life Skills? Is it more of Miss Laura's Life Skills, or is it more of the self-care side of life?
Pretty equally both, and a lot of each.
Wow.
So April was just really intense. I did take the first week off as my spring break for my self-care, which is different. You know, I try really hard to be available on the kiddos' spring breaks. So then I take mine a super random week that I feel like, of course, I'm going to be missed, but I'm not going to be missed to the
That's
point
so
where
nice.
parents are pulling their hair out.
Yeah, no, that's really thoughtful. Yeah, that's wonderful that you kind of wait and and take some time to yourself and till after
Yeah,
everybody else has done their time.
right. And which worked out to have downtime because the second week of April, we did our annual Disney trip. And I'm beyond stoked to report kiddo made it 12 hours in the park this year. We did 10 last year.
Wow. No meltdowns.
Just amazing. No meltdowns. He got a little bit fussy at meals because, heaven forbid, we made him stop going on rides and sit and eat and nourish himself.
Okay.
He did not want to stop going on the rides this year. And of course, when you're sitting, you're also more aware of the crying babies around you and things like that. So just
Yeah.
talking him through that, saying, you know, they're just tired and hungry like you are. Let's just get some sustenance and then we'll get you right back on a ride. No big deal. So yeah, keep in mind, this was our fourth trip. We took our first one in 2019.
Mhm.
So he's really more familiar with the routine of the way we do things, I do things on these structured Disney trips.
So he can
I-
anticipate versus having anxiety.
Exactly. Because we do a lot of the same stuff now. I mean, I tweak it each year depending on his needs, but I've kind of geared it, you know, towards him. And my cousins flew in again to meet us there. So he had the peer model that's about his age again. And so he was even more comfortable with her this year than last year, obviously. And he was just more comfortable in the park himself. Carly, you know what a Disney nerd I am. So I demand that he do Disney nostalgia like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and Peter Pan and things that he really doesn't care about. And in the past has been fairly fussy on because he's like, why am I not on a roller coaster right now? I don't even understand why you would put me on this ride.
Okay, so what I need to know, I've got a couple questions just to interject before we keep moving forward.
Yeah.
One, how many days in the park did you guys have? In which park?
So we always do a day and a half. So we drive,
Mhm.
we get in around 3 or 4. You know, we pop our stuff at the hotel, we regather belongings, put on layers, whatever. And then we hit the park by 4 or 5 and we go straight into California Adventure. and we spend the evening about, I think we were in the park around 4 and we left around 9. So about 5 hours total.
Okay.
It's a smaller park. There's not as much to do, and especially for him, he doesn't have a whole lot. He loves the Cars ride, the Radiator Springs Racers. He loves soaring over California. He likes the Swings ride. We do Little Mermaid and Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And we have dinner over there. So, and we made it on Radiator Springs twice. We did Little Mermaid twice. We did
Does he do
Soarin'
the
once.
California Screamin'? It's not, it's the, I know it's the, who
The
are
big
they?
roller coaster.
Yeah. The,
He has not, we have not attempted that with
oh,
him
okay.
yet. I think that's just a little bit above his level. And Miss Laura's going to have to find someone to ride it with him because Miss Laura will not be seen on that ride.
Got it. Nicole's
So
like, yes, I understand.
I think I've been on that.
Yeah, you
Wow,
probably
good
have
for
the
you.
Incredicoaster. That's what it's called. The
Yes,
Incredicoaster.
Yeah,
Incredicoaster.
yeah, I have.
And then the
Mhm.
Guardians of the Galaxy one where it drops.
I don't like that though.
Yeah, no. And then the next day we do Disneyland. So this year he made it from about 9:15 to 9:15
Wow.
at the park. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah. But this year, even on like the Mr. Toads and the Peter Pans, like he was just sitting, looking around, taking it all in, like super chill, just was happy. And I feel like he was more last year he got, and I don't know where he got this from because this isn't a me thing, but he became obsessed with Star Wars. I never really talked to him much about it. And so
Oh.
all he wanted was Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is the name of the land.
Right.
Then we went on one of the rides, and so that became the name of the ride to him last year. And then he didn't even want anything to do with his previous favorite roller coaster, Thunder Mountain, after that. And I was like, dude, come on. Like, you're allowed to have a new favorite ride, but we need to keep our old favorite rides in mind too, you know? Whereas, like, this year, he was just happy to go on all the coasters. He didn't really wig out. He didn't have any full meltdowns again.
Space
So,
Mountain?
yeah.
Does he do Space Mountain? Or is that
He
too
does
much?
Space Mountain with my cousin.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he did that with my cousins. Yeah, we definitely, I mean, we pushed it, and also his mom was struggling with some health issues this year. So usually she goes on every single ride with us. She went on like 2 or 3 total. She came to the park. She roamed the park and shopped a bunch. I gave her a whole list of shops because, you know, Miss Laura takes care of the entire family. So she
Love
had
it.
a whole list of shops, stores, rides she might be comfortable going on, shows to stop and watch, like the Dapper Dans that sing on Main Street, like stuff like that. So she was fixed, and then around dinner time, she decided to actually leave the park and go back to the hotel. So I was by myself with my client in the park with my cousins, of course, too, which was a huge help.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was definitely dragging after dinner, but I was like, dude, you're with the big kids now. Like, let's
Yeah.
do this. This is how we roll, man. We just
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom right after dinner. So I got him on like 6 more rides between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock.
I'm assuming your weather was pretty good.
We had amazing, amazing weather. And I was so worried because Anaheim's been having so much rain with El Nino all winter. I've heard several people's trips, influencers, friends, like you name it, their trips have been rained out. We had 80 and sunshine. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got
Perfect.
the rain and the wind, and that deterred us from staying in
Oh,
the park late at night. Otherwise, we would have been there later, but we had a bolt.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm so sorry. What a bummer.
I mean, well, it sounds like you guys covered a lot of ground too.
We did. Because that's me and my cousins have been doing this for years. We
Yeah.
had it fixed where before they changed everything, we waited, because I have the data, we waited on average 7 minutes per ride all day. Yep.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yep.
How is
We
that possible?
It's not possible anymore because they changed up the fast pass system.
Yes. Yes.
And it's extremely
But that's what you're
infuriating to
saying you
me
used
because
to
it wasn't
wait.
broken.
What you used to do. Yes. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, because yeah, the days of us walking up to the exit on these rides is far over with now, which is really sad.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I was telling Nicole on the podcast when we had gotten back from Disney that for us specifically, I appreciate that Disney offers these accommodations, but it's almost like they need to go a step further and say, all right, let's figure out what will work best for you to have the most successful park experience, right? For
Yep.
us, waiting even 15 to 30 minutes in a
It's
line
hard.
is very hard because of the bathroom, because Ella's excited. And
Yes.
we could very well
Yeah.
be moved up in the line and we
Yep.
still have 15 to 30 minutes to wait. And then we've got to get out of that line and go to the
Yep.
bathroom and then
Yep.
somehow get our way back in to join our group without upsetting other people who think that we're line jumping.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
Which
it's
is,
very tricky,
yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
tricky. So, yeah, it's just, I know that they put these, variables in place because people were abusing the system.
Yep. Which is
So that's what
unfortunate.
I was going to ask. Why were things changed?
Hmm.
Well, Fast Pass that I'm talking about is a totally different ball
Mhm.
game. And I think that changed because Disney had time to think about things in the pandemic. I'm blaming the pandemic on that one because they've just been raking more and more money out of us since the pandemic and taking
Oh,
away things that used to be readily available.
Yeah.
My
This,
biggest shtick with the Fast Pass is it used to be free. Then it changed to Max Pass, where you could still get the free version, or you could pay like $20 extra to do it on your phone, which is how we had the 7-minute rides all day. And you could still sign up for more than one Fast Pass per ride per day.
hmm
After the pandemic, it became Genie Plus. It's even more expensive on top of park tickets being even more expensive.
Yes.
And then with Genie Plus, you can only use one Fast Pass per ride per
at a
day.
time. Yeah.
Well, and at a time. But I mean, like I used to get a Fast Pass. I used to get like 3 Fast Passes for Thunder Mountain per day. Now
Yeah.
I can only get one. So that significantly decreases the amount of time I'm going to be on that ride because, again, when you've been waiting 7 minutes for rides for years, even like 40 is my cap. I don't wait more than 40 minutes for a ride. I still kind of know where to be in the park and at what times to keep wait times really low. And so I use that knowledge too in between. Like if we've already got with the special needs pass, if we've already got a ride lined up,
Mhm.
same thing like Fast Pass, you can only sign up for one ride at a time. And the wait time, like there's still the way they put it with the special needs pass is they're saying you're still waiting the same amount of time, but you don't have to physically wait in line
Correct.
for that ride.
Right.
So, but my kiddo who like doesn't need the bathroom frequently
Right.
and doesn't like a whole lot of sitting downtime, as we've said, I'm using my prior Disney knowledge to be like, okay, where's our next ride at in the park in conjunction with other rides in the area? Like, what can I just walk him in the regular standby line that's not going to be too long right now? And
Right.
that's how I game plan that day.
Yeah. It's definitely not for the weak. I think I said that several times on my trip.
Correct.
You have to
Correct.
be sharp. You have
Yep.
to have a fully functional brain in order to navigate that app, by the
Yep.
way.
Yep. Yep.
Because a lot of it is very tricky still. So,
Mhm. Yep.
and you've just got to be well fueled and ready to go.
Right.
Do not be slacking on those Disney days, which is
And that's
why I thought we could have benefited from a second day at Magic Kingdom just because of
yes.
these new things that are in place, just to reduce
Yep.
the stress of having to like rush to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
mhm.
And that's why I offer my services to anybody and everybody. I have a dear friend from middle school who's going to go with her, plans to go with her husband and their 1.5-year-old baby and the grandparents. And the grandparents want to pay my way because they heard my trip and what I do and what I provide. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to do that. Like, I was expecting to go with them and pay my own way, but the grandparents are like, no, I think this is worth it. And I'm like, you're right. You're not wrong. Because I'll be the one on the phone all day. I'll be the one, planning the things, reminding them. It's not even just the rides. You got to plan your meal times for the mobile ordering. You got to think
Yes.
ahead Like you got to think, okay, it's 10:30. We're probably going to start to get hungry in an hour. That means we need to order now. We can't just wait till we're hungry to order because then you might be waiting hours. You
Yeah.
just don't know.
Oh, wow.
So it's a whole thing.
Yeah. No,
Sounds like it's gotten a bit crazier since I was there.
yeah.
It has. It definitely has, unfortunately.
I know. And I mean, I love it. It is such a fun trip for our family. So I know
Yes.
that I mean they all equally had a great time. Even Chase, who was like, what do you mean we're
Good.
going to Disney again? And he loved it. He had an absolute blast. So
So fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great trip.
Yeah.
Really a
I
great
think
trip.
it's just making sure, like for me, I just shoulder all the stress so that everybody else has the good time. You know, like my cousins had a great time, my client had a great time, his mom had as good of a time as she possibly could have.
Yeah,
And I just worry about all the stress on my end with the phone and the scheduling and all that.
I gotcha. So what was that? That was middle of April you guys went?
Yeah, that was the second week of April.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
right after you.
since then, you've taken your spring break so that you could get your R&R.
Right.
And where are we at now?
And now I am just hopping between constantly women's stuff and Miss Laura's life skills stuff. I mean, I'm trying to, I'm in my last contracted session for the year, right? So I'm trying to make sure we're rounding out our goals that we've had for the year. Trying to set up summer programs and summer schedules, seeing what clients are in town, what clients are leaving, who wants more support, who wants less support. I'm also this year because I was doing some group events throughout the spring, and I feel like those went really well. So I have plans in my head to offer more of that this summer for families that just want a little extra support, whether you're a current client, whether you're a past client like you guys, stuff that's going to be available for everybody. Um, and then, yeah, I'm hosting another tea and tarot at my house this weekend for the women. Later this week, I'll be launching the very first flyers for our first annual women's retreat in Payson in June. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's been a lot. I've got a lot of kiddos graduating. I've been invited to several graduations, including Carter's, which just totally made me emotional this weekend. Completely lost it. Was not expecting to.
For those
But
who are listening to this podcast, Miss Laura, just to give a little quick history blurb, Miss Laura came into the Park Hill family when Ella was 3.
correct.
And Ella is turning 20 this August.
Yes.
So Miss
Crazy.
Laura not only got to enjoy watching Ella grow up and see all the changes and milestones that has made, but she's also watched Carter grow
Yes.
up because he's only 21 months younger than her. And
Yeah.
so it is definitely a remarkable,
Yeah.
experience for Miss Laura to see
Yeah. I
Carter.
was telling Josh, I was like, you don't understand. I changed his diapers and I yelled at him to stay in his crib.
Oh, yeah, it's fast. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is. It is. There's that Gabby Barrett song, and it says that the nights are long and the years are short, and it could not be more true. Could
Yeah.
not be more true. When you are in the thick of it, it feels tough, it feels exhausting, and you
Yeah.
have so many emotions, and you're just kind of wishing, okay, when I get through this, when I get through this, but then before you know it, you're through that, and they're off to college. And
Yeah. Well, and I feel like Carter in particular is he's a very special soul. Like he's very unique. He stands out in my brain and in my heart amongst the plethora of kids I know because he just kind of really stepped up into almost an older brother role, even though he's the
yeah,
younger brother.
yeah,
Of course,
Just
yeah.
kind of always been that way.
yeah,
And he's just very special to me.
yeah. No. Don't get me going here. Don't get
Sorry.
me. Every time I do a stupid social media post, I go back and I watch it and I start crying. I'm like, why do I do this to myself?
Right.
Oh man. Well, okay. So in entertaining news, on behalf of Miss Ella Josephine, she went to her first yoga event over the weekend. I don't know if anyone caught the Instagram
Yes,
Live, which
yeah.
75% of that live feed was cut off of Instagram because of copyright music. I was
Oh
really
man.
irritated because she was trying so hard and she was doing so well. It was, I go to this bar, Pilates studio, and once a quarter, the owner does an outdoor event for
Okay.
instructors, an hour and a half long, and it's a mixture of Pilates and yoga and hip hop, even a little hip hop.
Oh, cool.
And there were like 120 women there that had registered for the event that were out on this
Wow.
beautiful lawn. And Ella came and she participated, and it was. And
Awesome.
Hannah called me
Oh.
that Saturday night when we were out, and she says, "So I can't take pictures right now because Ella is literally naked in the bathtub, but I believe she is trying to do some of the moves that she learned today at the Pilates event." So that was really adorable that she just
Oh my
totally
God.
Oh,
enjoyed it. And then on Sunday she put her sports bra from the event back on, and it was
Nice.
just, so she really loved it. So I'll have to try and do more of that with her this, as the in the coming weeks and months and stuff. But really cool for her
Yeah,
to do that. So you just never know.
that's cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and it sounded like you guys were like chanting some like affirmations or like
Yes.
confidence boosting. Like it was so right up my women's group alley. I was like, I need to be part of this next time.
Yes, I will definitely let you know. It's yeah, it was called Move for Confidence. Move for
Okay.
Confidence. And
Yeah.
it was opened up with a woman who was a former dancer, and
Awesome.
she spent most of her life, you know, being very aware and self-conscious of her body.
Yeah.
And you can only imagine what a dancer would look like and what that feels like to have to look a certain way.
Oh yeah.
And, as she got older, her body changed and she had to get comfortable with that. So
Right.
she was the opener for the event and talked all about those feelings and
Hmm.
what that took her through, what that brought to her in her life. And then we ended with this amazing woman who did this awesome, fun hip hop session with some really great like Zumba music and stuff like that.
Cool.
And then she said she was in these awesome like baggy cargo pants and a sports bra and exposed her stomach. She says, "This is the first time I've exposed my stomach since I've had children. And here I am
Aw.
in all my glory. I've not, gotten back to where I was before, but I'm okay with that, and I want you to be okay with you." And
Yeah.
it was
wow.
really cool, to be a
It's so
part of that.
important.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone just cheering each other on and all the
Right.
good feels. So,
Good.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
really, really thankful to be a part of that. So,
Awesome. Yeah, I've been working on that myself. I have so many more squishy parts than I did before the pandemic. And instead of shaming myself, I've taken to hugging myself lately. And I'm like, this body got me through a worldwide pandemic, and not all bodies made it through that. And
you're right.
I'm so grateful that I'm still here and I'm still standing and I'm still pushing forward. And we're not going to shame. We're just going to dance and we're going to do what feels good. And if weight comes off, it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. I know. I mean, Nicole, I know that you can agree that in this day and age, it's just everyone is fighting for their youth. We're all clinging on to being that person we were in our 20s and 30s.
Right.
And it's not so simple. And Nicole raising a daughter in middle school, I can only imagine the
Yeah.
things that you're
So,
dealing with and will have to deal with.
yeah, it's very interesting. So the one thing I'll say is, I have an 18-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. And so I see it from kind of two perspectives. First of all, I like to think that women are young girls, some of them are more accepting now of their bodies
Good.
than I feel like we were when we were younger. And I say that from a way of like, I don't know how to say this appropriately, but maybe like when we were young, certain body types weren't wearing certain clothes. How does that sound?
Okay.
Now I feel like there's a little more of this, like, you do you, boo, at least like amongst my daughter, right?
Yes.
Daughter. And I'm hearing this, like, I'm seeing my son's teenage girlfriends, and they definitely are wearing things maybe some of that, wouldn't have worn when we were younger or whatever. And so I think like that's super interesting. But then like I sometimes see this side with my son where I think he has been very skewed by social media. And I feel like there is a certain type you will hear him talk about or be attracted to, right? The quote smoke show or whatever that is, in which my husband and I are trying to tell him like, oh my gosh, half of what you're seeing isn't even real.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Like this is not real life. And so back to your point though, originally, I think having both of them, I mean, I have to watch myself, right?
Mhm.
I am trying to have my daughter see me make good choices. And that means healthy eating choices. That means healthy mental health choices, which the two are so tied. So that might mean eating dessert as well, or being healthy. Like I let her really see balance. And then, of course, she is an athlete. So I feel very lucky about that from
Yeah.
the sense of she's naturally like, she's not someone I need to tell to move, right?
Yes.
So exercise is so important, but we don't want to be harping on our daughters and make them feel, self-conscious, right? So I'm certainly sensitive. There are mornings I get up and I'm like, oh my God, look at that muffin top. But I am not ever saying that around her, never, 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 never.
Well, that's awesome to me that you feel like you're seeing more body acceptance, because
Yeah.
I feel like, and maybe this is with the 20 somethings, I feel like I'm seeing so much fakeness, eyelashes are such a big thing these days when
Oh,
they
yeah.
weren't when I was young. I feel like people are getting lip injections, they're getting their eyebrows threaded. They're like, I don't even want to know the amount of money they're spending just on their faces alone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
A
filters
lot is the
aside,
answer. A
a
lot.
lot, exactly. Like social media filters aside,
Yeah.
even in person, I feel like a lot of what we're seeing is fake. It's fake lashes. It's, it's
Yeah.
injections to make your lips look the way you weren't born with. And it's just, it just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Lot of pressure on young girls today.
Yeah.
Lots of pressure. So I'm
Yeah.
just talking body type. I wasn't talking the other thing. That is
It's a whole
terms
nother
of the
ballgame.
face and cosmetic, all of that. That's a whole
Right.
nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
Whole nother ball of wax for sure.
No. Well, there's no doubt about it. We definitely can use people like Miss Laura to have these opportunities so that we can feel comforted by being comfortable with who we are and not have to do all the things in order
Right.
to create an image of what you think is acceptable. So the more Miss Laura's, the more opportunities that we have in the world to move with confidence, gatherings,
Yeah.
sit in self-care, all of that stuff is really important as we moms and soon to be moms or grandmoms, whoever, as we navigate it all is really helpful. It'll be helpful for us. So once again, if anyone does have an interest in the Phoenix area for help with their special kiddo or help with their own mental health as a mama, Miss Laura at Miss Laura's, plural, Miss Laura's Life Skills at gmail.com.
Yes.
It's the best way
That's a
to
possessive, not a plural. Go ahead.
best way to reach her so that you can partake in either of her wonderful programs that she is offering. So, Miss Laura, it is always such a pleasure to have you back on this program, and we will look forward to seeing you again, I think at the end of May, beginning of June, maybe?
Sure thing. Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. So
Thank you for joining us. I know you've been so busy, so thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
we appreciate it. We are very grateful, very, very grateful for you because, as we know, a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles, and we all need more of that. Right, Nicole?
Yes, for sure. Take a couple minutes every day to reflect on what you're grateful for. There's always so much.
Always so much. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Podcast Mamas, signing off.